everyone, welcome again to another 360 Timmy. So, we're in the midst of January. We've just passed Blue Monday, the most miserable time of the year. Now, if you live in the UK, that's because it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, and everyone's going and doing dry January. What's that all about? The most miserable time of the month, and you give up booze? Not for me. So what can we do about Blue January? Well, I've got some great content to show you, which will lift you out of those January blues. And I've also got a great drink, an alternative to an energy drink, the 360 Timmy Turbocharger, a totally herbal drink. Maybe you'd like to try. I've been trying it for a couple of weeks and it's really perked my mood up, given me a lot of energy and very good for the skin. Doesn't taste so great, but we'll work on that one. So my first piece of content is the amazing YouTuber Erik Grankvist. Now at the age of 18, Erik went into the Swedish forest and went to build a cabin on his own using traditional craft techniques, and the result is absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look. You'll note there is barely any sound on these videos as you watch Erik chop down trees by hand, strip them down and drag them off site to his cabin. You can literally watch for hours as he toils away, and it's so therapeutic. Only the sounds of nature, in the snow, in the summer, in the spring. It's absolutely amazing. Erik's goal as he ventured into the forest at just the age of 18 was to hand build an off-grid cabin using the skills of his ancestors, using just natural materials and literally only a backpack full of hand tools. It's absolutely fantastic. The craft of the guy is incredible. Erik had no previous experience in building or gathering materials or filming, so he started studying the old arts and learning from his grandfather and mentor, Erik Nielsen. Erik has a number of channels. He doesn't just do the cabin building, he does also feature trips away across the Swedish tundra, sometimes in summer, sometimes in winter with his dog. How he uses his survival techniques and his natural skills. He's very at ease with the forest and he captures everything beautifully. It is an absolute pleasure to watch. You can literally just sit there and relax and take it all in. Fantastic, very therapeutic, will certainly lift you in these winter months.
Junior Survivor now is about like bringing up the next generation of junior survivors.
Yeah.
So you know, it originally started out as me trying to become a junior survivor, someone who can survive in the wilderness but also in life, and the connection there. And now it's sort of saying, you know, it's your time to become junior survivor, guys. So that's hopefully where it'll go, and whether or not that leads me to, you know, just continue on the path of junior survivor, or go to another, you know, maybe go to another company in a few years once I've got that experience and stuff of leading expeditions. Yeah, so I'm an ambassador for an organisation called the British Exploring Society, which is like the ideal company pretty much. So they set up like 90 years ago by some of the explorers who were going on like Scott's final expedition.
Yeah. So
you know, the sort of that age of exploration. And they set it up, and originally it was for whoever could pay to go on an expedition. A lot of sort of like public schools. And then over sort of recent years, they've sort of changed it to make it more accessible to all young people.
Yeah.
And those especially who may not usually get the opportunity. So I did an expedition back just as as the COVID sort of broke and we were allowed out and to do these sort of things. So then I think it was, when was it, 2021 I think?
Yeah.
Did this expedition to Scotland, 2 weeks, absolutely amazing, like life-changing. You know, I just spent 2 weeks in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of young people, and just hearing these young people's stories, where they'd come from, what happened to them in their lives, things that I'm like, goodness me, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds should not have ever experienced stuff like that. And then, you know, they're like, I've never opened up to anyone in my whole life about this, and I've just spent 3 days with you, and just the environment I've been in has just bonded us into a team.
Now, another thing to lift you is some old archive footage from the BBC archive. I mean, this is fantastic. Some of the very early life stories of people in the 70s and 80s, very different times, much darker times, but these people, sometimes bonkers, sometimes incredibly brave, like Fred Dinbar as an example.
It had fascinated me for, you know, all through my childhood. How the hell does one little man get all that up to the top of a 200-foot factory chimney and fix it all up? And, you know, like, if you went to talk to most of them, they couldn't really explain in, you know, language I understood how you did it, because I don't think they really knew themselves, you know. They'd just left school and been shown, you know, the way to do it, and they battered at it in a wild sort of a fashion.
So Fred is a crazy man. I mean, not only does he climb up those chimney stacks, up these rickety old ladders without any safety gear whatsoever, or anyone spotting him normally, but he's normally just been to the pub. He's very blasé about it as he climbs up an overhang of 30 feet, and he's literally taken these chimney stacks down brick by brick from the top. Incredible, incredible times.
Across the corners, you see, like so, which like stops you falling through the hole in the corner. I hope the bloody thing goes. It's going. Going.
And of course, the BBC has an archive of new technology as it arrived. So a very early sat-nav solution for a Beetle using a cassette tape.
175 yards, turn left at crossroads.
200 yards, straight on at traffic lights.
My navigator is this pre-recorded cassette of tape. On it are all the instructions I need to find my way around this route, and if I ever use a different route, I simply use a different cassette. Most of the time, the playing unit is switched off. It's only switched on to relay the instructions to me, and those times are dictated by this control unit, which is mounted underneath the dashboard. On the end of each instruction is recorded a bleep, and it's the precise length of this bleep which tells the control unit how far the car has to travel before the next instructions are due.
And I love this one. A retired old lady who's still running a cinema up north, must be long gone by now, but she's literally doing the whole thing. She is selling the tickets, she's a projectionist, she's trying desperately to keep this family cinema going.
The Electric Theatre today in 1971 is what the cinema used to be, a family affair. Not run by big corporations, but by a family for the family. In fact, here in Marsden they call this Aunt Laura's cinema. You can't miss Aunt Laura. Everyone knows her. She's lived here for 60 years. By day, she leads an ordinary suburban life. At night, she enters the celluloid world of make-believe.
20 pence, please.
Yes, thank you.
Can you tell me what the film's about?
Can I tell you what the film's about? They're gorgeous. You'll enjoy each one, love. One's about an animal, and the other one is the first one, very, very good. But oh, when you come to the aristocrats, you'll laugh and you'll really will enjoy it.
Upstairs in the projection room, Aunt Laura's twin nieces, Muriel and Marie, operate the heavy Cayley 19 projectors. Between them, the ladies, the three of them, run the business, doing everything from sweeping up and emptying the ashtrays to chucking out drunks and troublemakers.
I certainly get a lift from watching these archive films. They were shot many years ago. Life was a bit tougher then. You know, we take for granted things like central heating, double glazing, having mobile phones, having the internet. Of course, it was very simple then, but they still got on with it and persevered with old buildings and old technology. And I often wonder what happened to them, but you can certainly watch it looking at the old ways of living and think maybe now we have got it quite good. Do we need to be so blue?
Many times I've sat in the theatre and had jokes. And I do remember that we have shown to two. And as we told you, it's this. Those people came, and it didn't matter if we lost. That show must go on.
So finally, my remedy for a healthy and uplifting January. So get rid of all those energy drinks. This is the 360 Timmy turbocharger. Over to the kitchen. So for this simple recipe, you need some unwaxed lemons, some fresh ginger, some organic thyme, some probiotic apple cider vinegar, some organic honey, some warm water not boiling, and something to blend. And you simply add the whole lemon to the blender, add some thyme, tear off a knob of ginger and add. You're going to add some honey for taste, and then simply warm up the kettle a little bit. Add some apple cider vinegar, around 10 to 20 mils, and you should be left with the ingredients looking like this. Don't worry, this is all going to blend. Simply add then warm water, not too hot. Top up to around 500 mils, and then simply blend until smooth. Once complete, you'll have a nice smooth drink that you can enjoy in a glass, and you can have this at the start of your day or at lunchtime or just before evening meal. I tend to have mine at the start of the day. Great for skin, not such a great taste I guess, but gives you a bit of a kick. Now, as I mentioned on earlier videos, these minisodes are filling the gap during the winter while I can't film with my 360 camera out in the cold and the wet. So if you've got any suggestions for content, please do reach out at 360timmy.com. I've had some great feedback so far, so keep those comments coming in, keep those suggestions coming in, and you have a super day.